Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Corey Lee. And today I just kind of want to talk to you about something here. A lot of us really ain't that deep into being saved. And we really don't know we ain't. You know, most of the time you would hear this gospel where good enough is made to be good enough, right? Like you will hear things like, you won't hear this exactly, but you'll hear things that make it sound this way. As long as I got Jesus in my life to help me take care of my needs and to get me from A to B, that's good enough. You will hear a lot about a gospel where warfare is not required. You will hear a lot about a gospel where living any old kind of way you want as long as you say you know Jesus, or as long as you go to a church, or as long as you own a Bible, or as long as you've been baptized before is good enough. Because why? Well, as long as I believe, then I'm saved. I'm Christian. I'm a believer. Like whatever you want to call it. Because you know, I know brothers and sisters of all different walks. And my goal is to just help them stop being so religious, whether on one extreme or the other, and just be a believer. Just be a believer. But most of the time we think we are a believer. We really don't know that there's more to being a believer than just saying you know Jesus. And most of us think that we don't just say we know Jesus. Right? I mean, like we all would say that. You know, let me grab my water. I mean, we all say that. I just knocked this water over, so it's kind of mangled. But like what y'all really don't know is that the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few, because a lot of the laborers are doing what they think are laboring. All of these Christian YouTubers, all of these ministers in church, well, in churches, a lot of them think they laboring, and really they not. I kid you not, a lot of people that think they're laboring are really not. They think they doing what laboring is. And I ain't gonna lie to you, if it wasn't for a lot of Christian YouTubers, you know, I wouldn't know the stuff I know. I mean, so a lot of this is necessary. A lot of this is laboring. But you really don't know how deep this rabbit hole go. Before I got saved, I was real deep in the rabbit hole of what you might call conspiracy theories. I thought that rabbit hole ran so deep. Like you just never come to a conclusion until I got saved. Then all that stuff came to a conclusion. Then I reached a point in my relationship with Christ where I didn't say this, but I believe this. And I didn't know I believed this, but I thought I reached a conclusion in my walk with God. Bad mistake. I got bored with my salvation. I didn't really read as much. I didn't pray as much. You know, you started like dabbling in things you shouldn't dabble in. And then next thing you know, you're way out in left field somewhere. And you got to be delivered, you know. But what we don't really understand is that we got stalled out and stopped somewhere. And I'm going to tell you exactly where we get stalled out and stopped at. Spiritual warfare. We don't really know that spiritual warfare is stalling us out and stopping us. We are all called to be soldiers in a war. You joining a church and singing songs and praising a God you think you know is not what being saved is all about. I repeat, you joining a church, singing songs, moving chairs at the end of service, and starting a bake sale is not what being saved is all about. We really have no idea. You know, when I first came to the Lord, I really had no interest in the religious industrial complex. I mean, that's the best way I could put it. I had no interest in the religious industrial complex. Like, that's just a general word for everything you see Christian on TV. Okay? Like, that's a general word for everything you see ministry on TV. That's a general word for mainstream religion. Well, Bible religion, I should call it. I had no interest in it. I grew up in that stuff. I saw the church go backwards in that stuff. And I said to myself when I first came to know Christ, well, if this didn't do them no good, then what good would it do me? God instantly put the right teachers in my life. Instantly. From that hour, he put the right teachers in my life. I want to give honor to one teacher, and I'm sure he probably don't, bask in, people giving him honor and all of that other kind of stuff. I want to give honor to one teacher who was put in my life named Pastor Gary Price from Omega Ministries. I urge everybody to go over to omegaministries.org and look at their sermons and Bible studies and just listen to that stuff. Listen to it, support it, whatever you want to do. Because that stuff right there really opened my eyes to how deep the rabbit hole of what we think being saved is all about. But then again, what I could learn from a person is just not enough. It's just not enough. It's a point you reach when God has set himself have to put you in front of what it is that's going to take you down this trail. You can't just learn all this from a person. And when God himself walk you down this trail of how deep the rabbit hole of being saved really goes, and it ain't a rabbit hole either, it's a staircase. How far up this staircase really go, it's going to make you want to read the Bible all the way over again. All the way over again. Stuff we just take for granted in the Bible, like we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. Powers. I just recently found out that there's a such thing called a power demon. A power demon. And I'm like, and I've been hearing about this thing called power demon. And I'm like, I wonder what a power demon is. I start reading my Bible and I'm like, principalities, powers. Wow. And what power demons do is they govern over certain territories. See, principalities rule over certain nations, and then power demons, they rule over individual territories in that arena that the principalities are over. We really don't know stuff like that for real. Above all, and take to yourself a shield of faith. Like, do y'all not know that a shield of faith is really a real thing? This ain't hyperbole. Like, this ain't figure of speech like how we can think it is. Oh, I got faith and that's my shield. It's like a shield of faith is a real thing. I kid you not, it's a real thing. We don't really think about how deep a lot of that stuff is in the Bible that we just read over and over again and we just take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Once your eye get open to this stuff, you can't just go back. Once you begin to even do as much as learn of this, the war is on in your life. And once you get put in the middle of the war, you got one option or the other. You can either face embarrassment and walk away, or you can keep going knowing that God gave you the victory. And I'm going to keep it real with y'all, man. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. A lot of pastors ain't as spiritual as y'all think they are. A lot of preachers aren't as spiritual as y'all think they are. A lot of these people have no idea that Satanists are in the midst of their church. And those are usually the ones that pump the most money into the system. They ain't got no idea. None. And they think fast growth is a blessing of God, and really fast growth get used against them to make sure that nobody get discipled on an individual basis, and that witchcraft and Jezebel spirits get mixed in to make sure the power get cut off. To make sure that things like Satan worship, such as Halloween and a lot of holidays people practice, get mixed in the church. And we take for granted that this stuff is just another day. And we really don't know that the kingdom of darkness designed these days for their sacrifices. And we celebrate them helter-skelter, like ain't nothing wrong with it. And I mean, maybe you don't celebrate them for that reason. But when you know stuff like that, like not just heard it, but know it, man, you tend to want to walk away from stuff like that. Everybody wondering, why didn't you come to this and why didn't you come to that? It's like, to me, that closely resembles devil worship. Well, we don't do it to devil worship, but yeah, that go against my conviction. It just go against my conviction, right? I got a lot of strong convictions of things that people don't got strong convictions in. I have a lot of faith in things people got strong convictions about. You know, like having a glass of wine. I don't got a strong conviction against having a glass of wine because I'm not a drunk and I don't get drunk and I don't like being drunk. In fact, I don't like being under an influence at all. I don't like it. But somebody else, they might see me with a little, like, you know, like a little small little bottle of wine, which nobody really would see me do that at all. And they, oh, that brother's a drunk. You're like, nah, I just need to get to bed on time. And like, you know, this helped me sleep. My body uncomfortable from working all dang on day. You know, yada, 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 no big deal. And like, and those be the same ones going out and celebrating Halloween and going to, you know, like going to the bar doing Halloween events and all of that other stuff, and they don't even know they playing with demons directly. You know, I try not to make my own convictions what everybody else's convictions should be, because I know that there's a line you draw between your conviction and God's law, right? But I got convictions against things for a reason. Specifically, woo, that's a big little bee looking thing. Specifically because of where I know they come from. Not what the devil use them for, but where they come from. See, where something come from is different than what it get used for. Like pumpkins, right? Pumpkins come from God. But setting a pumpkin out on your porch with a face carved in it come from the devil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Wine come from God. But getting drunk and partying with it come from the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we just really need to know stuff like that. And when your eye get open to a lot of that stuff, man, it's like you are responsible for making sure you take responsibility in your liberty. But then there's other things where it's just an absolute no-no. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of us really think we know what being saved is. And this is the reason why you see a lot of churches that preach the real gospel or that believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit. A lot of their finances and money and stuff like that get stopped. And I'm going to tell you exactly why the finances and the money and stuff get stopped. And it's not just because nobody want to come. Most of it is due to the fact that God is not interested in another church business. He ain't. Like, he's just not. He's not interested in another, you know, church as usual. He's not interested in having some church as usual, according to what I grew up. But not what I grew up in, but the stuff that I've been seeing my whole life. Even the stuff on TV. Mostly the stuff on TV. But most of these famous Christian pastors y'all see on mainstream TV, a lot of them serve the devil. And they'll never tell you. And it's probably because they don't even think they are. A lot of them took the deal that the king of Sodom gave them. You give me the souls, and I'll give you the riches. And Abraham said, no, lest you say I have made Abraham rich. A lot of them handed over the souls in exchange for the money. And you can hand over souls in ways that you might not think you're doing. All you got to do is not teach them these things. All you got to do is not train them up for real spiritual warfare. All you got to do is give them a watered down gospel. All you got to do is make Christianity about everything other than this. All you got to do is make Christianity sound like it's just all about being a good wife. All you got to do is make Christianity sound like it's all about being generous. All you got to do is make Christianity sound like it's all about being baptized and saying you believe, and then that's it. All you got to do is make all you got to do is make the Holy Spirit sound like it's nothing more than speaking in tongues. That's all you got to do. Like, it ain't no more than that. You handed over the souls, and a Freemason or a Satanist that, came into the midst, he start pumping in the money. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is, let's not be too offensive. All you got to do is make the bulk of a person's salvation sound like is all dependent on how much they come to church. That's all you got to do. You just hand it over to souls. And coming to church ain't wrong. Singing songs ain't wrong. A lot of that stuff involves what our walk should include. But all you got to do is take people's eyes off of what Jesus came here to do in the first place, and that's it. All you got to do is tell them stuff like spiritual gifts went out with the apostles. You can't tell me spiritual gifts went out with the apostles. You can't tell somebody that done it before. I hear a lot of seminary preachers talk about how God don't do spiritual gifts in this age. What age? Because ever since Christ's been here, he's been calling it the last days. Like we've been living in the same age forever. It's been 2,000 years we've been in the same age. After Christ was crucified, Peter was still doing spiritual gifts. It's been the same age. So what age? Post-apostolic age? No, we still in the same age. It's called the last days, the last hour. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them hand over the souls and they don't believe that that's what they're doing. All you got to do is not prepare people for this. What do you think Satan is going to get so mad for to the extent that the Great Tribulation come about? We think it's because nobody want to take the mark of the beast. What do you think the mark of the beast is really going to be such a pressure over? Because the devil going to get mad that we wake up and we start walking in resurrection power. That's why. That's what's going to drive him insane. That's what's going to make him want to persecute us so bad. All you got to do is tell him, well, we ain't going through tribulation because we just going to see the rapture. You just handed over the souls. You prepared these people to exempt themselves from spiritual war. Therefore, when it do happen, they ain't going to be prepared for it. Y'all better stay away from mainstream Christian stuff. But at the same time, a broken clock can be right twice a day. So every now and then, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that stuff can be true. All you got to do is tell people that they robbing God by not giving them their money when really God asked for a body. God asked for a body. He looking for somebody who want to go deeper in this. He looking for somebody that want to execute a war against the devil. He looking for somebody that's willing to be chosen. He looking for somebody that's willing to be put in the war first. Who want to be put on the front line? That's who he looking for. Who want to execute this war? Who want to start this? But I'll tell you what, though. If you don't go to war with me first, you can't sit down and eat with me. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. You're not going to receive the same reward in heaven that people that executed the war is going to receive. You're not going to receive the same reward in heaven. Like, you mean to tell me you lived your life for your own selfish indulgence? As long as Jesus supply your needs, that's good enough. Man, good enough ain't good enough. I'm sick of a good enough gospel. I'm sick of it. It's boring. Like, this is what's causing so many false converts. People come in and think they reach the end of what this is all about. And they ain't got nothing left to do but go back and sin. You know what I'm saying? That's why people go back and sin. Heck, at least that's why I started dabbling with sin again. And I had to come out of the stuff and wake up like, wait a minute, I'm going too far. But why? Why am I doing this? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. You put your faith on autopilot because you didn't know that there was something deeper than this. You put your faith on autopilot and you started to slowly drift away, not knowing that's what you're doing. I'm just glad that a lot of my screwing up like that happened way before spiritual gifts. I'm just glad a lot of my screwing up like that happened way before the war got hot in my life. I'm glad I had a chance to feel around and screw up before it would have costed me my life. Hey, look, I went there for you already. Before the world becomes appealing to you again, get deeper in this. There are real principalities. This ain't just some... Look, if the kingdom of God comes without observation, the kingdom of Satan comes without observation too. You really don't know what the spiritual world look like. You really don't know that there's real people with real demons that's manifested in them so strongly to where that's where werewolves come from. Like, that's where the whole idea of a werewolf come from. Oh no, that stuff ain't just myth. I mean, the stuff about it being a full moon and if you get bit by one, you become one. Yeah, nah, that stuff is myth. But there are real people who got demons so strong, totally given over to the devil, but to where that demon or those demons, because it could be thousands of them in a person, you don't know that, to where they will change the physical countenance of that person, literally change the physical countenance of that person, and they would look like what we've always thought a werewolf is. You really don't know that there's some people that's so deep into witchcraft that that's where the whole idea of vampires come from. Like, what do you think the Amalekites was all about? Why do you think God told the Israelites to go kill off all these tribes? He told them to go kill off all them tribes because they were so manifested with demons to where every aspect of their lives was demonic. The children was mixed with fallen angel DNA. The animals was mixed. I mean, where do you think half man, half horse stuff come from? All of this stuff is real, y'all. We set ourselves up for absolute catastrophic failure without this knowledge. Without wanting to go deeper into this, we set ourselves up to potentially become another casualty of war. Another vessel that demons can use to slow down people that want to be for real about this. People say Christians can't have a demon. You're a Christian, can't have a demon. Lie. You're a lie. You don't know, and you want to know what's telling you a Christian can't have a demon? A demon. A demon. You a Christian can't have a demon. Lie. Okay, all right. You not lying. You think you're telling the truth. And sometimes a demon can get somebody to be so convinced of the truth that them being convinced of it convince us of it. Because to us, we don't detect that that person is lying, because to them, they're not lying. And so their being convinced of a lie will cause everybody else to be convinced that that's true. I mean, they're not doing what they think is lying, so I can't charge them with being a liar. And that's the hard part. A lot of this stuff these pastors learn in seminary, they really believe that's true. And their being convinced of the fact that that's true will work like the plague and cause everybody else to believe they couldn't be lying. What you can't see is that they're not lying. They think it's true, but they're telling a lie. They themselves aren't lying, but they are telling a lie. That's the greatest trick the devil ever played. It's to convince somebody of a lie that is true, and then have them teach other people that stuff. Have them be so convinced of it to where you can't even tell them. They gotta see it. It's some stuff I can't just tell y'all. Y'all gotta see it. Some stuff can't be told, it's gotta be seen. Or else you ain't gonna believe it. Or else I'm gonna be nothing but full of the devil. Oh, and be ready for that. When you go deeper in this, a lot of people that believe that they're sincere believers will accuse you of being full of the devil. Full of the devil. Now you the one doing the spiritual gifts and you full of the devil. I can't believe it. I've been there before. I'm going to talk to y'all about that. So the very first time I did a spiritual gift, right? The very first time I did a spiritual gift, I'm going to tell you which state I was in. And a lot of people are going to be totally shocked to find this out. The very first thing I want to tell y'all is this. Casting out a demon is not a spiritual gift. We wait so long to deal with the demon that's in our spouse, wreaking havoc on the relationship. We wait so long to deal with the demons that's stopping our family members from not being so religious about their faith and just being a believer. We wait so long on this because we think that this is some kind of deep spiritual power we need. It's a reason why some folk want to be saved, but yet they can't come to the gospel. Some folk got baptized, they go to a church, but yet they can't come to the deeper things of God. It's a reason why. You want to know what that is? That's a demon. They can't leave the world alone, but yet they want Jesus. It's a reason why. And we sit here, we tell them, you need to stop this. You need to stop that. They can't. They can't. Well, you supposed to be a Christian and you still do this. You supposed to be a Christian and you shouldn't do that. They can't hear you. You putting a burden on them that they can't lift. They can't carry that burden. A demon got to be dealt with in them first. Then they're going to be able to see it. We always tell somebody what they got to stop doing, and we don't even know that they can't stop doing it. They can't even stop doing it. They can't even stop doing it. They don't even know how to work it out. Because it's something in them telling them that you just think this is more serious than what it got to be. Now, there's a time and place when some people don't want their demons dealt with. They want to hold on to them. You have to give them a choice. Do you want this or not? It's always got to be somebody's choice. Always got to be. But what we need to understand is this. Casting out a demon is our authority. It's not a spiritual gift. A lot of us believe that we need some kind of special gift to do that. Well, God didn't give me the gift of dealing with demons. Well, dealing with demons is not said in what the spiritual gifts were. Not reading the Bible will have us so fooled and deceived. So deceived. First thing I want to say. But the very first time of dealing with a spiritual gift, I had some bad habits in my life. That's as much as I can say. You know, I was coming out of a position where that was kind of keeping me in some kind of state of what I might call limbo, right? I could go deeper on what I mean by that, but like sometimes we end up in God-forsaken predicaments specifically because we put our faith on autopilot and we don't go deeper. And you know, a lot of times God will warn us, and he'll warn us just enough just for us to see our stupidity and for us to get mad enough about it to put up a war. Because in some way, shape, or form, you got to learn somehow. It ain't enough people around you that can teach you this. Like it's just not enough. I mean, who's telling you this stuff? It's right here in the Bible. But I got really mad and upset, right? You know, I was living with my brother for a winter, and, you know, I was rededicating my life back to Christ. That's pretty much as I could say. And I was dead serious. Like I was serious. You know, I would spend the vast majority of every day in prayer, every day. But I was living with my brother for a winter. And he had a newborn baby that just kept getting sick. I mean, he had some kind of really bad cough that would cause him to lose his breath for like 10 seconds. And it happened over and over. I mean, not over and over, but it happened just like that every time it happened. But, you know, he'd lose his breath and then he'd catch his breath again. Yeah, like about 10 seconds. They kept taking him to the hospital. The hospital kept saying it ain't that serious. He got a cold. Oh, he got COVID. Oh, this. They kept calling it everything in the world. Everything in the world. But kept sending him home. I got sick and tired of seeing it. In fact, I left the house that day around maybe 3 o'clock. I took the world. I took like a 6-hour walk. And I spent that day in prayer. I said, Lord, I'm tired of seeing this. I don't want to be right there when somebody's baby dies. I don't want to be there to see it. I just don't want to be there to see it. And I told the Lord, I said, Lord, we're going to have to do something about this. Like, please, heal that baby. I mean, like if you don't want to do it that way, Lord, use me to heal that baby. Like, if you want to do it through me, do it. I'm tired of watching it. I can't sit here and see this. Now, I know I got to be here for a reason, you know, and this is what I got to look at every day. It's somebody's baby losing a breath all the time. It's going to be a matter of time before that baby just can't breathe. Lord, I'm tired of seeing this. So, you know, long story short, my mind ended up getting on other things, and my prayer, about, you know, like during the rest of that day, kind of changed and went on other things. I went back home that day, I don't want to say I forgot about what I prayed about, but I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I got back there around maybe 9, 10 o'clock, something like that. And they never ever really made me aware of the fact that the baby couldn't breathe when he would start coughing too much and lose his breath. But this time, my brother walked out of his bedroom holding his son, and he looked me square in the eyes and said, "Corey, my baby can't breathe." Like, he just looked at me and yelled at me and said it. I'm like, I wanted to say, well, what are you telling me for? Why don't you just take him back to the hospital? I can't do nothing about it. Then I'm like, so this baby had then lost his breath a good minute. I mean, maybe a minute or two, like too long to lose your breath without, like losing some brain cells. He was blue and purple. Literally, his whole body was purple. Couldn't breathe for real. He kept patting him on the back like he'd normally do, get him to catch his breath. This time, it was just too long. I mean, the baby should have at least lost some brain cells, if not lost his life, at this time. I said, "Oh, I know why you telling me." I stood up, I laid my hand on the baby, and I said, "Lord, please heal this baby." That's as much as I said. He didn't catch his breath. He just started breathing again like it was normal. Normally, he'd catch his breath. Nope. He didn't even catch his breath. He didn't even go through all that. It just disappeared, vanished right before our eyes. I'm like, I was so scared. I'm like, that was a miracle. And that was my first time ever seeing a miracle. Literally. That was my first miracle I ever seen in my whole life. It's when God used me to do it. Boy, I was shaking. I'm like, his whole color changed immediately. Like, it didn't slowly change, it just changed immediately. He started breathing immediately, and he just went sound asleep. I mean, he was already pretty much asleep, but it just vanished. As if we was both seeing stuff. Like, wait a minute. I was scared. And I'm going to tell you why I was scared, okay? I was scared because I knew that I wasn't that right with God at that time. Now, I can't say I didn't know him. I just knew I had some stuff in my life I had to work out. And I remember what the book of Hebrews talked about. That if you've tasted of the heavenly gift and the powers of the world to come, if they fall away, it is impossible to renew them back to repentance. And the Lord said to me, you can't go back the way you just came from. You know that, right? I say, yeah, it's over with for me. It's over with for me. I can't play around with this no more. I just seen the miracle. I ain't see the miracle. God used me to do it. He said, as far as you've gone is as far as you can go. Look, for as bad as you are now, like, you can't get no worse than that. I'm drawing the line right there. I mean, bad enough the line was drawn a whole lot further ahead of where you are now. But you got to get right now. Because when you enter into a world like that, there is no going back. None. If you got any world left in you that you want to play around with, just don't even mess with this. Like, just don't even mess with this. Like, if you still want to sit around here listening to secular music every day, if you still want a normal life as usual, you still want to go out to the bar and kick it with everybody, it's best to not even mess around with this. Oh, and I was like, not right. Heck, I mean, going to the bar is just like an understatement. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I still wasn't a big fan of the bar. You know what I'm saying? But like, it was a serious war out on my life around that time. And I had to make some hard turns before all of that happened. The very thing that the enemy intended to do me harm was the very thing that God was going to use to grow me up spiritually. And I can honestly say, if it wasn't for all of that I've gotten myself into, I wouldn't be the way I am now. I mean, bad enough, I was for real before that, but what happened? It's a lot that I can say about that. A whole lot that I could say about that. All you need is to have a bunch of people around you that's making it sound like it ain't that big of a deal. It ain't that big of a deal. It ain't that serious. It ain't that big of a deal. It's a bigger deal than even what I can tell you. Now, I'm making it sound like an extremely big deal. Oh, it's a bigger deal than that. Man, it's a bigger deal than extremely big. Like, everything I'm telling you right now is an understatement. Man, because this go deep, bro. What a lot of these people don't know is that the reason many are called and few are chosen is because people don't want to deal with this stuff. They just want a free ride to heaven. And unfortunately, I don't believe that a lot of people that just want a free ride to heaven is going to make it. Because most of us is not really walking in what being saved is all about. But they the same people that got left behind in the wilderness. God is on the move. And when you stay still, like, there becomes space between you and him. Space. And that space between you and him has to be occupied by something. And that's the reason we end up dabbling in sin again. Like, that's the reason we end up putting our faith on autopilot. God is on the move, and when we are not, it has the same effect as going backwards, because time still go on. The longer you stay the same, you really go backwards. I've been saved 7 years, man. And the apostles walking with Christ 3 years is always my litmus test. They were walking with Christ 3 years and flipped the world upside down. I've been at this a little over twice the amount of time. I should be doing more than this. I should be doing more than it. Every day my prayers, I want to do more than this. I want to be more than a talking YouTuber. Like, for real, I do. But preach the word is always part of the job. I've come to discover that the more people talk, the less they do. Like, why do you think I don't make that many videos? Now, I got my seasons when I do, and then I got my seasons when I don't. It's a reason for that. I mean, there are some things that you can be involved in your faith that you just really don't want to talk about. Like, who am I going to tell this to? A bunch of folk that don't want to hear anyway? I mean, it's going to be somebody's highly respected pastor who's going to come up and contest everything I'm saying and cause everybody else to turn their ears off. Nah, that boy just lying. It ain't all that serious. As long as you believe, that's good. It's like, yeah, that's true. But that very first time of seeing a miracle happen, it came as a result of believing. I believe. I believe. I believe. Okay, well, you believe, then let's do it. All you got to do is want to be put on the front line. Say, God, I want to do this. I want to do this. I don't want to just be somebody sitting around in a pew thinking good enough is good enough. I don't want to be somebody listening to preaching all day long. I want to do this. I don't want to read about it. I mean, I do. I don't want to just hear about it. I want to do it. Like, for real, do it. That's all you gotta want is all you gotta do is want to do it. Nothing more, nothing less than that is just to want to do it. That's it. But most of us don't want to do it. We don't want to do it because we still love the world. And we don't know we love the world. It's something in us that tell us this is going to cost us something. Something in us that tell us this is going to cost us something. We can't imagine being put out on the news as a kidnapper. Like, dead serious. And the whole time that's not even true. We can't imagine being put out on the news as a murderer or something like that, and we ain't killed nobody. I mean, we can't imagine being killed for our faith. I mean, we don't even know a gospel like that, do we? Man, we can't imagine dealing with somebody's dirty demons spitting on us and trying to kill us. And it's one of your kids. Or somebody you married to, or somebody you got to work with. Man, we always like to run from challenges. I got myself into the biggest mess of all eternity. Once you walk into this world, you can't turn back. But you know what? Messes need to be cleaned up. He came to undo the works of the devil. He came to be nothing more than a spiritual janitor, a restoration specialist, a soul detailer, like an auto detailer, a move-out cleaner. All of them things I've done in my life already. I know exactly what it's like, deep cleaning something. Imagine what that's like on a soul. A soul. We wait too long to get into this, and we become stuck in our ways and don't even know how to get unstuck out of our ways. But as long as you want to do this, God can bring you in this. He really can. Like, how many of y'all are bored with Christianity? Like, I ain't gonna lie. It's a form of Christianity that's boring. Like, that's just real boring. But when you enter into that world, it is never a shortage of things to do. Because why? The harvest is plenty, the laborers are few, because many are laboring and was doing nothing. And they think that's the bulk of what they should be doing with their life. Many don't want to labor because they don't think it take all that. They think laboring is for the bishop and for the deacons. And I just come to eat and get a free ride to heaven. And lo and behold, I might end up with a free ride to hell. All because I died as an unbeliever, a fearful person, a non-combatant, and a pacifist. There is no such thing as a Christian outside of warfare. There is no such thing as a believer that don't execute war, or at least don't wanna. If you know that you came to the Lord for real, and this was real in your life, real, oh, the war gonna be hot in your life. It's gonna be somebody you get involved with somewhere. That's, man, and if you don't know this, if you don't know this, that could be used by the enemy to destroy you. But God will make sure he keep you. Because what the enemy meant for evil, God will use for our good. The very people that God sent you to help deliver is going to be the very people the enemy used to destroy you. And we run into all these Christian YouTubers that talk about, you know, not dealing with some people. Man, no, go deal with them people. Look, they got a demon. Go help them. Cut them off. Trust nobody. All this other stuff, man. And a lot of that stuff sound real hardcore and warfare. Like, really, man, that's all rooted in pacifistness. But that's all rooted in fearful and unbelieving kind of stuff, because you don't want to put up a war. You don't believe that God is going to give you that power to overcome what it is that's going on between you and somebody. All you got to do is believe. God, I'm here for a reason. Why? God, I'm intertwined with this person like this for a reason. Why? This is about to put some hair on your chest. That's why. Oh, and the battle ain't going to stop there. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on and on. All the way to your dying day. And you're going to say, I fought the good fight and I kept the faith. Man, see, y'all listen to a lot of Christian YouTubers who talk about all these celebrities having a demon. I mean, like, we make videos about people having demons and putting their demons out there for other people's education and entertainment. Man, why don't you go ask the Lord to put you in front of that person and go cast it out? No, they're too far away. See, you an unbeliever. You an unbeliever. You an unbeliever. I pray for people like Ice Spice. I don't want to make no videos about Ice Spice having a demon in the middle of prayer. Why? Why? And if we ain't going to stand up and say something about it and do something about it and want to pray for that woman's salvation, man, just leave it alone. Like, all these rappers giving their soul to the devil and they don't even know how to get out. Yeah, they got themselves in that position. Yeah, they knew what they was doing. And that's because they really don't know about the goodness of the Lord. They really don't know it's a power stronger than the power they think they got. If only some of these people knew that the power of God was stronger than the power they have, oh, they'll turn to Christ in a minute. A lot of these folk could turn to Christ in a minute if only they knew he was stronger. Strong enough to overcome whatever they battling with and can't get away from. And these people scared for their life not to go through what they're going through. And it's being made to look to you as if they like what they're doing, but a lot of them scared not to do it. Scared half to death not to smile while they at it. And y'all sitting around making videos talking about, ooh, guess who got a demon? Man, shut up. Like, for real. If you ain't gonna go do nothing about it, man, you ain't gonna say nothing about it, you ain't gonna stand in prayer for them, man, don't talk about none of them people. If you don't want to deal with stuff like this, don't talk about none of them, for real. It's whack, man. It's straight up whack. Everybody making a video, Ice Spice has a demon. Stay away from the music industry. No, man, send me in it. Put me in front of them. You know, we got people like Lecrae, man, who got contact with these people. And I know how it is, man, when you in that world around them people, man, they temptations could wear on you. I know exactly what it's like to end up in a God-forsaken predicament because you're around all these people that serve the world and the devil. But God can, man, he can fix you. He can get you out of that. He can give you power. Not to overcome what's going on with you, but to but to then turn on the very thing that was sent to destroy you. Anybody ever heard of the very specific reason how Anton LaVey died? A single Christian man prayed in the spirit and cut his silver cord when Anton LaVey was astral projecting. A person. I mean, with the help of his wife and like a few other believers. That's what's going to drive the devil crazy in the last days. To see us walking in this power on a mass scale. Not just a few people here and there, but all of us. But it's going to have to start with a few of us here and there. For real. And y'all sit back making fun of these people. Talk about all these sacrifices in the industry. And, oh, guess who's got the demons today, guys? And shut up. Shut up. You entertained by this stuff. This is your job. You see it, it's your job. If you see it, it's your job. That's why I don't like to entertain a lot of conversations about what the church need to be doing. And, oh, did you hear that message today? And, yeah, man, I don't want to talk about all that, man. Oh, guess what so-and-so did? Man, don't tell me about none of that. Because then you're going to give me a job to do. Like for real, man. Like, I don't care nothing about what the church need to be doing. Like, what I'm saying right now is what the church need to be doing. Like, anything other than this, I don't know. We really don't know that we ain't saved like we think we is. We really ain't as high up in God like we think we are. We really ain't. But all you got to do is want this. And Lord, whatever war is out on somebody's life right now, I pray that you open their eyes to the fact that you've given them power and authority to tread over snakes and scorpions. Just one person walking with the Holy Ghost is enough to flip the whole world upside down. Just imagine if it was all of us. Just imagine. Principalities, the fallen angels, powers, the head demons, underneath them fallen angels, the rulers of darkness, everybody else he set in order underneath that demon, the people you can see. All of these presidential debates and all of that kind of stuff, this ain't nothing but two principalities fighting for territory. Yep, but they usually know who gonna win. Like, you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff you see nation rising up against nation, this ain't nothing but principalities fighting for power behind the scenes. All this evil that crept into the church, it started somewhere. It's all started somewhere, y'all. But ask God to open up your eyes to the deeper things of what being saved is all about. And I guarantee you, he'll find you something to do tomorrow. He'll find you something to do tomorrow. If not today. I mean, what are you going to wait for? For you to get perfect? No, he'll get you perfect on the way. Once you see how deep this stuff really go, oh yeah, you'll get right. Yep, you'll get right then. Sure would. But that's all I got to say today, y'all. I hope somebody learned something from this today. Oh, I got two things. No, I got a couple of things I want y'all to investigate. Investigate Pastor Dave Bryant, I believe. Rebecca Brown, her book, He Came to Set the Captives Free. And Pastor Gary Price with Omega Ministries. Start there. Start there, and yeah, don't forget to have a Bible too, you know. But all right, y'all. Peace.